Hey guys, welcome to You the Boss podcast, episode 84. I'm your host, Pam. And we're going to start this episode today by asking you a question. What if I told you that everything you've been taught about winning might be incomplete? That the life that you've been chasing, the goals, the milestones, the validation, might not actually lead you to feeling the way you thought it would. Because here's the truth, no one is really talking about. You can look successful on the outside and still feel completely disconnected on the inside. You can hit the goals, make the money, build the life that looks just right, picture perfect, and still feel like something's missing. So today we're going to talk about what it really means to win at life. Not by society standards, but by your own. We've been handed a very specific definition of success. It looks like more money, more recognition, more productivity, more visibility, and in today's world, more likes, more follows, more attention, more views, more shares, more reposts, going viral. Somewhere along the line, winning became something that you could measure, something that you could compare. But here's the problem with that. If your definition of success is based on what other people can see, you're always going to feel like you're falling behind someone. There's always going to be someone who looks like they're doing more, looks like they're doing better, looks like they're earning more, they're showing up more. And that creates this constant pressure, this quiet anxiety that whispers, you're not there yet. You haven't arrived, even when you've already come so far. This feels empty because external success without internal alignment will always feel empty. If you're chasing what you think it should be instead of establishing what you think it is, you're not going to be fulfilled. You're not going to build a fulfilling life. You're going to build a life based on comparison. You can't feel grounded when your worth is tied to how you're perceived. And you definitely can't feel like if you're winning, if you're constantly chasing a finish line that keeps moving, a finish line that's tied to someone else. And that's why so many people are feeling burned out. Even when they're doing everything right, they went to college, got the degrees, they did the things. Because deep down, they're not asking what actually matters to me. They're asking, what does it look like? How does everyone else see this? So let's redefine it. Winning at life is not about being the most impressive person in the room. It's about being at peace with who you are when you're alone. Winning looks like choosing peace over pressure, choosing alignment over approval, choosing growth over perfection. Every time, progress over perfection. It's waking up and not feeling like you have to perform to be worthy. I recently was having a conversation with my therapist, and that was one of the things that came up. It was about the performative mask. It was about putting myself in different rooms and aligning with other people when I didn't want to be there. And I'm tired of overextending. I'm tired of having to show up everywhere else instead of where I actually want to be. This looks like trusting yourself to make decisions, even when they don't make sense to other people. It's building a life that feels good to live, not just one that looks good to live. Because real success, it's internal, it's quiet, and most of the time, it doesn't even need an audience. When you reach this kind of mindset, you start to feel like it doesn't matter who sees. I don't feel the need to post necessarily this accomplishment. You start to maybe post it more for the memories, for the time hop that's going to come up down the line. At some point, you have to ask yourself a really hard question. And that question is, if no one could see my life, would I still want it? Would you still chase the same goals? Would you still be on the same path? Would you still be doing what you're doing? Because that question reveals everything. It strips away the validation of others. It strips away the applause. It strips away the pressure. And what's left is the truth. So, how do you actually start defining success? This can be a little bit of a tricky subject because you get to this point where you're like, yeah, I don't want to be defined by someone else's success. I actually want to give it my own definition. And I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting validation. We're human beings. There's no reason to pretend like we don't need each other. There's no reason to pretend like community is not important. Like it's not important to be sitting in a room full of people that are doing what you're doing because it feels less lonely. But it's so important to make sure that while you're sitting in that room, you're not chasing the person next to you's goals just because you want to see who gets there first or to see what it looks like for you. So I've put together some practical tools to help you start to line up with redefining success for yourself. Number one, the internal scorecard. Instead of measuring your life by outcomes, measure it by alignment. Ask yourself, did I show up in a way I'm proud of today? Did I honor my energy? Did I make choices that felt true to me? That's winning. Number two, the would I still choose this? Take something you're chasing right now and ask, if no one could praise me for this, would I still want it? If the answer is no, that's not alignment, that's performance. Number three, redefine your success on your terms. Journal. Journal about this. If no one was watching, what would a successful life look like to me? Not what sounds impressive, not what sounds cool, not what you've been taught. What actually feels good to you? Number four, the peace test. This one is kind of simple. If you don't feel peaceful doing it, or your clarity or your self-respect, it's too expensive. No matter how good it looks on paper. If there is not a sense of peace about it, then it's too expensive. Here's what I want you to remember from this episode. You're allowed to take success and define it differently. You're allowed to slow down if that's what you want to do. You're allowed to change direction. Your age is not tied to wanting to change direction. Your age is not tied to want a life that feels calm instead of chaotic, instead of the constant rushing from going here to there. I believe there are seasons for this. If you are in a season of your life where maybe you're working a couple of jobs because you're trying to make ends meet, or your job is just demanding a lot of you right now, that's a season. It is not your overall life. Just make sure you keep that in check. You're allowed to win quietly. You don't need to run through the streets announcing, anything that got done today and just to get a pat on the back or feel like you're quote unquote better than someone else. At the end of the day, life is not about being admired. It's about being aligned. Think about the person that's going to be on your deathbed, which is you. Are they going to go to the grave saying, I wish I would have done these things to impress other people? Or are they going to say, I wish that I would have lived my life based on my own expectations and doing things that I wanted to do? Success is not about how your life looks. It's about how it feels. So this week, I want you to stop asking, am I doing enough? Am I being productive enough? Am I doing the right systems? Am I organized enough? And I want you to start asking, does this feel like me? The person that I'm becoming, does this person do these things? Am I comfortable with this person? Do I trust this person? Because that's the real win. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who might need this reminder. Share it with someone and say, hey, I was thinking about you. And take one of these tools, just one, and apply it this week. Thank you for listening. I'll talk to you in the next episode.